Go ahead.
Yeah, she said okay.
Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm sorry, I went out of order. Can we have roll call?
Mr. Viera?
Here.
Dr. Vogt?
Here.
Mrs. Wittes?
Here.
Dr. Selly?
Here.
Mr. Dangler?
Here.
And I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspapers in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and posted as required by law.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes from the July 24th meeting?
So moved. Second.
Any question? Roll call?
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mr. Dangler?
Abstain. Motion carried. Consideration of ordinances for public hearing and final consideration. This is the second reading of ordinance 16-19, entitled Ordinance Vacating a Portion of Right-of-Way along 3rd Avenue in the vicinity of Morris Avenue. This ordinance was introduced on July 24th, 2019. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. If there's anyone in the audience that has a comment regarding this ordinance, please step to the mic, give us your name and address, and please speak clearly. You will have 5 minutes and only address the public, only address the council one time. Seeing none, I need a motion to close the hearing.
moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This is the third reading of ordinance 1619, entitled Ordinance Vacating a Portion of the Right-of-Way along 3rd Avenue in the vicinity of Morris Avenue. I need a motion to adopt the third and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes. Ordinance for introduction, there are none this evening. Public portion for resolution and all general comments. I need a motion to open up the public.
So moved.
Oh, yes, yes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Before we start, I would just like to say that we are pulling Resolution R 174-19. The reason that we're pulling this is because one of our board members was, one of our council was not present at the first presentation, and we are going to have a second presentation, which in public will hear all at the same time. So we are going to postpone that until the next council meeting. So it is now open for public portion. Anyone want to address? Yes, just step to the mic and please state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Corbin, and I live at 422 Ocean Boulevard, known as Ocean Point Condos. I'm in receipt of my tax bill, which I got about 2 weeks ago. And I come to speak to you tonight because I am retired. I'm on fixed income. We have money that we spend in our community at restaurants and other businesses throughout this town. But we are not made of money, and these tax increases that we experience over the next year are chasing us out of the state to live in a tax-friendly state. And I think that's happening in much of New Jersey. I really believe that the taxes, which were under $4,000 when I bought here in 2001, are now double. That's not easy to sustain, especially when you're retired. When I was working, I just grimaced and looked the other way. I live in condo 6F on the top floor of my condo. My tax increase without the veteran discount is $1,750 a year. My neighbor on 3F, 3 floors below me, has a $300 per year increase. You tell me. But I know the answer because I called the tax assessor. These increases are killing us. When we bought here, as I told you before, taxes were under $4,000. By the way, Maurice, who I spoke to in the tax assessor's office, is extremely polite and very businesslike, and I wanted to praise him in front of you because he's doing a great job. So let me say this. I looked into the tax increase that my neighbor in 3F is paying $300 a year. That's a huge discrepancy. I'm paying 5 times more for the same place, same square footage as he is. And you know what the answer to that is? The answer is that I've got a better view of the ocean. I mean, when I bought there years ago, it was always that way. We didn't get charged more or less. And so I ask you to put it in relative terms, to consider this. Maybe I have a ranch, it's a 1-story, and the guy next to me has a 2-story, and he can see better than I can see, so they charge him 5 times more. It does not make any sense. And here's how I compute this entire thing. It's another way to collect taxes, manufactured way, so that you can get more revenue. And I understand it. I was in business for many years. I understand you got to raise revenue, but on the backs of retired people who want to live here and enjoy this area. By the way, that $250 veteran deduction that I have was the same in 2001 as it is this year. So I say to you, if you're raising my taxes to the sky, why aren't you raising the deduction for veterans? I don't know. That's a question that you'd have to ponder. And I hope you do, because I come here as one of many people, but I must say, I'm not alone in what I think about living here in Long Branch. And to mention, I know you know this, but when you go by the condos there in Pier Village 3, they talk about the 30-year tax abatement. And I'm sitting over in Ocean Point, and I don't have a tax abatement. So there's unfairness everywhere you look. We'll have to make cuts in our spending budget to pay these increases. Again, I'm on fixed income. So I just wanted to say that you're taxing us into oblivion. And I don't think that's good, because I'm a retired person, but I don't have a lot of the children and things that I had when I was working. And I have a few extra bucks to spend on the community. And Lord knows I do. But if you're chasing all the retired people out of the state because the taxes down south, let's say in South Carolina, are $1,750 a year total, it doesn't take anybody to calculate the math to know that, in fact, they might move down there to escape those taxes. I don't want to do that. I want to live here. I've owned, I should say, since 2001, and I live here now since 2011. So thank you.
Thank you,
Sir, if I may add, and then I'm going to ask our city attorney just to address what perhaps you can do. But, I mean, we are very sensitive to what you're saying. I just wanted to point out that the last 2 years prior to our administration coming in on July 1st, we had a flat tax rate on the municipal side, and there was a 3.9% increase on the school side. This year, for the first time in several years, there was a decrease of a penny in the municipal tax rate, and we worked very closely with the Board of Education so they went from 3.9 cents to 1 cent. So basically, there was a 3.9% increase in 2000, the year before we came into office, and there literally was a flat between the board and the municipal tax rate. And like I said, that was the first time in several years. Now, having said that, I know that the assessments for some have gone up significantly. I just wanted to throw that out, and then I'm going to ask Mr. Raynone if you could just address.
Yeah, it sounds to me like the increase in your taxes is a result of the change in your assessment. I think
That is
that's what it
correct.
sounds like. And it also, because when you explained to me that there was a difference between yours and the municipal, the rate is the rate. But if your assessment change is different between you and the person who lives a story below you, that's a function of the assessment. So what happens in Monmouth County, and it's unique, there's only 2 counties, Monmouth County and Somerset County, is Monmouth County has forced all of its municipalities into a county-wide reassessment every year. So what you see is these changes in assessed value every year, and they're driven, and while the city can't do anything about it, my problem with that is that sometimes maybe 1 or 2 sales in your area might drive your neighborhood to have their assessment raised, and it might change the way they look at your unit and the unit below you. So it's a function of, our tax assessor has lost a substantial amount of control over their ability to monitor that based upon what they know to be local conditions. But what I do want to tell you is that as opposed to appealing the municipal budget, which you really can't do, what you can do is appeal your taxes. So it sounds to me like if there's a substantial discrepancy between your unit and the unit below you, and there's no difference between the 2 of you other than one's on a higher floor, you very well may have a tax appeal, and you can go in, you get real relief. They lower your assessment, and you'd get a tax refund. So you have missed the deadline for 2019 because you got to file those appeals pretty early in the year, and you have to file them every year. But my suggestion is you go on the website for the Monmouth County Tax Board. You can file a tax appeal online, and it's a little technical, but there's some instructions on how to do that. But you may want to do that because sometimes what happens, like a property like yours, is the county tax board, it's all done by a computer program. And sometimes there's properties, because there's hundreds of thousands of line items in the program, sometimes, it doesn't catch that there's not much difference between your unit and the one below, but that could be assessed at $100,000 and you could be assessed at $200,000, and even though the tax rate is the same, you pay twice as much in taxes.
Correct.
So my suggestion is that you do that. It's worth they're very helpful in walking people through who are pro se. It'll require you, and the great thing about 20 years ago, it was harder to do, but now you can go online, you can look at sales for units in your building, sales for units that are used, in comparable buildings, maybe next door to your building, and you can go down to the county tax board and say, heck, you've got I'm assessed wrong, you should reduce it, and you might be surprised. And the tax assessor's office, by the way, will help you with that process too.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
May I just respond to one comment that you made, and it is this. Regardless of all of these suggestions that you make, the bottom line is this pocket's going to be a lot lighter next year. And that's where the rubber meets the road. Mm-hmm. In other words, if you all live in town, and I hope you do, that you've been reassessed. I hope not as badly as I've been, but this 1-year reassessment is another political gimmick to raise taxes. You all know that. I'm just saying it as John Q. Public. And so I leave you with that thought, because I know you have influence in these decisions. I know you are elected council folks, and that you have to look into this. As the president of the council, I hope that you hear what I'm asking, and hopefully you can get something done and relieve us of this enormous burden. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Perone and council members. My name is Anita Cravering, and I live on 161 Garrett Drive. First of all, I would like to gratefully thank Mayor Perone for the quick action he took in fixing the road to my apartment complex. It's been all paved, and people have been running smoothly. So I would like to gratefully thank you again.
Thank you. And you.
And secondly, I formed a disability caucus with the Monmouth County Democrats, and I'm planning our next meeting on Tuesday, September 17th at the Long Branch Street Public Library. And I would like to extend an open invitation to Mayor Perone and the entire council members. If there's any issue that you would like to talk about people with disabilities, or engaging them in public office, which can start in participating in a council meeting and go up to running for office. I would like to ask Dr. Vogt if she could talk about every kid counts, because Senator Gopal and Assemblywoman Downey and Assemblyman Holt-Dowling have been working very hard to get every kid counts established, and it's going to begin with the new school year. So I thought it would be important first for back to school to talk about every kid counts. So if anybody would like more information about the meeting, please let me know.
Anita, what
Thank you
time's the
very much.
meeting? What time is the meeting?
Meeting is going to be from 6 p.m. to 7:45 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Mayor Perone, members of council, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Stephen Askew. I reside at 4 Bay Avenue. It's at the north end of Long Branch Avenue. I'm the house immediately next door where the old rec center used to be. I just want to bring your attention to issues that have been occurring this summer, all right, where the police have had to been called 4 times. They've been responding very, very well. I want to thank them, very professional. Most recent at 2 o'clock in the morning, this past Monday, where people are coming in at night, fishing, crabbing. I understand it's a beautiful piece of property. It's on the waterfront. Waterfront access to the public, paramount importance to the residents of Long Branch. I understand that. 2 o'clock in the morning, coming around my fence, fishing off my bulkhead, not so good. All right. Parking at night, extending their stay. All right. I asked that the council post ordinances at the location. There are no signs identifying it as a public space. There were no signs identifying park hours, smoking rules, traffic control. People, there is the old lot that was there. People, there's no bumpers or berms. Public is bringing their cars right up to the waterfront, into the high grass, becomes a safety issue, becomes a nuisance. All right. So again, I urge that posting, increased surveillance, perhaps. The Parks Department does a marvelous job at the soccer fields. They really, really do. They generally keep the area clean, although quite a few times I've had to clean up on my own after a Sunday evening. And I clean the park property right there. There's a dumpster there that the park puts their trash, and that's fine. It gets picked up promptly, generally doesn't overflow. Sometimes if there's a big event, there's some overflow there. But it's prone to illegal dumping. You come in someday, it's not only park trash, which you can clearly identify, construction materials, people surreptitiously dumping, again, becomes a nuisance, becomes a hazard, attracts vermin and other critters. So again, I urge the council to post the property with ordinances as required. I urge the council to ask the police department to increase their surveillance activities in that area to keep the residents. We're down, it's not only my home, but there are a bunch of homes on a lot of dead ends there. Gets really dark at night, and if the public, again, enjoying themselves during the day, absolutely love it. How many residents do you hear that they enjoy living next to public space? I'm one of them. All right, so really want people to enjoy themselves, have full use of the area, but again, don't become a security hazard, don't become a safety hazard, don't become a nuisance to the permanent residents of the space. Thank you.
So we'll immediately notify the various department heads and agencies to see what we can do to help
Right.
out with it.
I've spoken to Mr. Jennings, the Parks director. He urged me to come here, speak to you folks as well.
Sure.
And again, they do a marvelous job. Really, kudos to them, the police department. I don't call 911. I call the precinct direct. The post, it's not an emergency, but if it's 11 o'clock at night and there's 2 or 3 cars kind of coming in, coming out, Lover's Lane's one thing, 2, 3 cars coming in and out, something else. Just want to make sure that the residents up at the north end of Long Branch Avenue are protected.
Great.
All right,
Chief,
thank you.
are you concerned, can you address any of these concerns? Are you familiar with this?
No, I haven't heard anything like that, but we'll definitely take a look at it. Seems like maybe some fencing may be needed and maybe some signage to tell people that it's shut. I don't think
Yeah, at dusk, parks generally close at dusk or whatever time the ordinance says. And it's hard to enforce from the police department's perspective. How do you enforce or prosecute if it's not posted? So I've been a public employee for 40 years, so I understand how it works. It's just that, we'd like to
Maybe
get a little bit
if
surveillance.
you don't mind sticking around, or if you can give the chief your name,
Sure, absolutely.
email, and then I'll get it from him as well.
Absolutely, Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, members of council.
Thank you.
Requesting 1-minute notification, Vincent Lepore, 33 Ocean Terrace, Long Branch. In regards to the first speaker, in reference to your taxes, I'd like to make a little bit of fact checks here. The ADP assessment demonstration program of the county, which was implemented, the City of Long Branch tax assessor was part of that team with the county assessor, Matthew Clark, that came up with that program. I still say to this day, that program has a tremendous amount of problems, and apparently a couple of weeks ago, people saw it in their tax bills. As far as the 30-year tax abatement sign on Pier Village, there lies the grave social inequity in this city, where long-term residents are getting burned for the invite of new residents with the incentive of a 30-year tax abatement. Also, to that first speaker, you are paying into the Board of Education where that 30-year tax abatement on that building is not. While your children have grown and you're retired, you're still contributing to the board when these tax abatements don't. That's the unfairness. And as far as the local budget is concerned, I've attended workshops since 2003. We've got enough fat to cut in this budget to make significant savings and reduce spending. The next topic I have, the last council meeting, we witnessed the manipulation of answers in reference to the Sephardic Torah at 213 Lenox Avenue. It became on the record that a dormitory was being discussed. A similar matter occurred in Ocean Township on Logan Road. We now understand the parties that were interested in securing Logan Road for a dormitory are now involved with Lenox Avenue, the Sephardic Torah. What I'm suggesting tonight is an ordinance by Ocean Township, Ordinance 2279, which addresses the matter. The ordinance puts religious dormitories and educational facilities of housing in industrial zones and zoned office parks without any need for use variances. Commenting on this ordinance when it was passed in October 13, 2016, Mayor Siciliano of Ocean Township stated, "I think this is a step in the right direction to help keep our residential neighborhoods strictly residential," end quote. Again, Mayor Siciliano of Ocean Township further stated, quote, "We now have a zone for this use, dormitories. We previously didn't, and now it will exist in the event someone wants to come in and have this kind of dormitory use," end quote. This would benefit this ordinance, the residential zone in the West End that is currently embattled with a proposed dormitory use. The Ocean Township ordinance is a template. It took 2 months in Ocean Township to get this ordinance in effect. The residents of the West End
Got 1 minute.
will have the potential to address the malady that's affecting their situation with the discussion of this dormitory. I urge all residents in the West End to contact Mayor Pallone and tell Mayor Pallone they want the Ocean Township ordinance in Long Branch to stop the dormitories in the West End. Since I've introduced Ordinance 2279 on the record, I will provide the clerk after this meeting with a copy of this ordinance for implementation. I will also cite on our zoning map of the city of Long Branch, we have enough industrial zones and office park zones to accommodate these dormitories. The need and frustration of the residents of West End is unnecessary. And if this administration wants to continue on the dormitory path, I will state again, the line has been drawn and it will be stopped.
Good evening. Patty Veracchi, 246 Jerome Avenue, Oakhurst. I'm coming again up to the podium to talk about Tackanassie Lake. I was very glad to see that the Princeton Hydro Company was working there, and seems like they're doing a very nice job with the algae growth that obviously is affecting a lot of New Jersey with the humidity and the weather the way it is. But initially, when I first asked about what was going to be done, and Stan was very nice to discuss in more detail after the meetings, I was thinking that it was supposed to be all 3 sections of the Tackanassie Lake. I understand that that's not the case. Is that so?
So what is the case, Patty, is that we found about $40,000 to do the lake. Stan, from what I understand, does not have the additional funds in his budget for the second and third portion of it, but we are certainly looking into that because, I mean, it's as important to us as it is to you. George, chime in so, you know, that process is going to take until the end of September, as I'm sure you've seen, as we all have. It's a lengthy process. It's something that's, as you indicated, is happening throughout the Northeast for various reasons and so forth. And while the lakes are very important to us, and we're trying to address it and do the best we can.
I just also, I have a few other things I wanted to discuss, but I just wanted to, I'm sure you're aware of that the Tackanassie flows from west to east. So whatever is being done at the tail end right now is going to be wasted money if west of Tackanassie, where the problem exists even worse, I believe, in the middle section there of the Tackanassie.
I can't answer that. It was a question that I posed. It was a decision, I guess, by Stan with the organization who felt that was the best thing to do.
Right, but it is the tail end, and
in other words, I don't want to say you're wrong or right. I don't know. George, do you know that was?
This was something that was being brought to our attention. Stan was trying to find some solution. I had prior experience with the company in question. I told him to reach out. The initial quote that I was aware of was $30,000 for those 2 sections. We felt that that was a good start. It was something we could afford, and we went ahead.
Well, if you could, you know, please look into the budget and see if maybe there's something that could be done further upstream where the water does end up at the that's more visible. And speaking of the Tackanassie Lake, on a few occasions late at night, my little driving around escapades, I've happened to notice that the boat light, that is the boat that's parked there with the rake on it, the lights are on at nighttime and there is no one around the boat. I drove away and then came back and noticed the lights were off and then they were on again. So I'm wondering if there's some, you know, some, not vandalism maybe yet, but possibly somebody should be looking into some foul play going on.
We'll do that. Patty, do me a favor. I apologize. Repeat what you just said about the lights.
I've seen the boat lights go on and off late at night, as if somebody, the boat lights, the boat.
The lights on the boat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the guy that runs the boat's nowhere there to be seen. So I don't know if he leaves the keys in the boat, but the lights come on and off during the night,
Okay.
just so you know.
Yeah,
okay?
we'll find out.
All right. And then, I don't know if I'll have time for this, but who is in charge of cleaning, manning, policing the bathrooms by the wave and the carousel?
Stan is in charge.
Yeah, okay, because recently there was some people that were saying that it really needed attention, and...
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm down there all the time. We're well aware of it. You know, that's just such a crowded beach, and people are going in there and changing, and the water runs and everything else. Yeah. There's no doubt we're trying to address that.
Okay.
And
in that same little area, this is a real quick question. Who actually owns the little piece of Ocean Avenue that goes from the wave to, like, the zigs, you know, that the part of the on the side of the wave to the boardwalk, the carousel, to the old section of that little, that used to be where the Ocean Avenue, Morris Avenue was all belonging to the city, so to speak. There was public parking there. now it seems like Morris Avenue is basically a driveway for the Wave and the eventually,
It's still owned by the city. I think it's still owned by the city.
it's still owned by the city?
I'm fairly certain it is. You'd have to show me where on a map.
Okay.
And then I'd be able to tell you.
All right. I just wasn't sure about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Ernest McNulty. I don't know if I said it before, but born in Long Branch. I live in Asbury Park. I've taken years of research, obtained public documents, gotten public documents, and I've now made copies. I have 7 copies I want to give out because I feel like when I come here and I talk about the Holy Smoke Cigar Club, I either feel disrespected or like that I'm on Flash Gordon's spaceship. That's the way I feel you get treated here. But to be more to the point, in the last few meetings, the city manager and the council president both announced to the public on television that everything's been checked out and everything's legal. Alcohol, cigar smoking, and card playing, it's all legal. And the part about the ladies being invited up there, a place that's open 24/7, 365, you sort of said, well, I have to come up with some proof. I don't really feel that that's my style. I think maybe like your street crimes or your vice could handle that kind of thing. So anyway, here they are. I'm going to leave them with you. This is an Oprah that I filed about the building and the operators. It's not the first one I filed, but it's the latest one. And certainly there were, I don't know if there's violations of Oprah answering, but it may be, because there's a lot of things here that were not answered, and they're very, very important things, like the oil contamination outside, the oil tanks inside in the basement. You know, a lot of this is being covered up. But, you know, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I happen to know the people who built the building, and I know a lot about that whole site, and there's tremendous contamination there. Lead, oil, all kinds of things. But look, the corporation that's running it now, Holy Smokes LLC, is, I understand they're going like national now, you know, and so when you look through this, what did come back is some interesting things. First of all, according to the city manager, everything's legal. Okay, well, not really, because from your own zoning permit, it says that that building on church grounds is to be used for social religious purposes. Social religious purposes and community outreach. Doesn't say anything about alcohol, cigars, 24/7, you know, gambling, etc. It doesn't say a word about that. And further, it says that no commercial entities, right there, no commercial businesses. Well, if you go through the packet, here's Holy Smoke's certificate of commercial occupancy. Let me ask you, Mayor, you know I'm not a lawyer. You're sitting next to a very competent lawyer. This thing stinks, and I don't mean it just cigar smoke. The way this is done, when you look at the signatures, Kevin Hayes, right? The way all this stuff is done is a farce. And I think, here, New Jersey Uniform Fire Code Certificate of Inspection. Who do you think inspected it? Kevin Hayes. After 8 years of me requesting it being inspected, finally, when I reported it to the Attorney General, they must have said something to the then powers that be, and they did these 1-year fix-up of all the paperwork. So, I mean, this is really something that, I don't know, can you assign someone to work with me to look into what I'm going to say is borderline? It's fraudulent. It's fraudulent. And you could say what you want about it. It says right here, another thing, very important. It says that the use of that property shall be the same as all other churches and synagogues in Long Branch. Not my language, the language of the zoning officer. Well, Holy Smokes operates to its own drummer. Everybody knows that. And everybody's really afraid to look at it, like the member on the end, Mr. Martin, who often sleeps there. And, you know, he's a big holy smoker. And anyway, who should I leave these with?
The clerk.
The who?
The clerk.
Okay, and will you be getting a copy?
She distributes them, yes.
It'll go from her to you?
Yes.
Thank you. Isn't that nice? Thank you. I'd give myself a hand, but my hands are full.
Yes,
You leave it right on the table and I'll get it. Right here. Yeah, please.
anyone else? Hearing no one, we have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. We can take the list of resolutions as a consent agenda. Can we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Roll
Opposed?
call, Mr.
Oh, I'm
Viera,
sorry.
Yes.
Dr. Vogt,
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes,
Yes.
Dr. Selly,
Yes.
Mr. Dagler.
Yes. Miscellaneous, for the good of the order. Councilman Vieira.
Good evening. Thank you for coming. Today, I don't have much to say, so I applaud you for being here, and thanks again. Good evening.
Councilwoman Vogt.
So Anita, my comments are directed to you because you and I are certainly on the same wavelength. I wanted to make comments about every kid counts tonight because Long Branch did extraordinarily well. We actually had a 43% increase in our funding. And just like you said, it was from the hard work of our representatives and also everybody in the audience, everybody in Long Branch who signed the petition for trying to get increased funding for extraordinary special education projects. And also kudos go to our Disabilities Committee who really led the charge on that. So it certainly is it's a wonderful lesson learned for the importance of civic engagement and standing up and having your voice be heard. So my congratulations to you. And that's my comment for tonight.
Thank you. Councilwoman Wittes.
I'd just like to thank everyone for coming in this evening, and I hope you're enjoying your summer, and look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
That's it.
Councilwoman Selly.
I have a couple things I'd like to say. First of all, we had a very successful National Night Out. It was a big crowd. As you noticed, we borrowed the land across the street, and it turned out to be a beautiful night. So for all those that were involved, thank you very much for your help. The gentleman who spoke about the veterans deduction, he would have to go to our senator and our 2 assembly people to get that changed. That's if I'm not mistaken, that's a state law, and it hasn't been changed in a long time. He's right. We have to take the action to get our legislative people involved. And then I would like to congratulate all the chaplains that were appointed to be chaplains for the city. Congratulations to all of them. Thank you.
Mayor Pallone.
Yes, hi. I wanted to just make a couple of announcements. The first, I'm going to start with this. So we have a couple of open employment positions here in Long Branch. So please go to www.longbranch.org under Employment to view them and to apply. And also, we have some open board positions that are also on the website if anybody's interested in volunteering for any of those. Our next fun day is this Sunday, August 18th, at Van Court Park. That's from 5 to 8 p.m., so please join us for some free family fun, including a slip and slide, rock wall, DJ, and more. This is the fourth and last one that we've had this summer. I want to remind everybody that this Saturday, August 17th, is the West End Cruise Night and Classic Car Show, which has been an annual event for many years. That's from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Brighton Avenue. And we will be having entertainment by both the Coasters and Shirley Alston Reeves. The Jersey Shore Jazz and Blues Festival is Saturday, August 24th from 1 to 9 p.m. That's the following Saturday, so that's 2 weeks. And check out our social media or email blast for the full list of events that day. And then that night always concludes with fireworks at night. That's also been an event that we've had here in the city for the last 20 years or so. This Monday evening, the FMBA, City of Long Branch, and the Long Branch Free Public Library presents the end of summer block party at the Union Avenue Firehouse at Union Avenue on Long Branch. As I said, it's this Monday, August 19th at 7 p.m. Please join us for music, hot dogs, burgers, all for free. And then there will be a movie shown in the park there at the band shell to end the night. And the movie will be Avengers Endgame, which was a big hit this summer. So if you'd like to see that, that's Monday night. And the final thing I wanted to mention is as you may know, the Shop Long Branch Property Tax Reward Program officially started on 10 a.m. on Tuesday, July 30th at City Hall with a kickoff celebration. Councilwoman Vogt just brought this to my attention to mention it here. So the program is designed to encourage local residents and those visiting Long Branch to support local businesses within the municipality. The goal of this program is to have local businesses experience an increase in transactions and revenue while providing those who shop locally with a discount on their annual property taxes. For the list of businesses and for information on how to get a card, go to www.longbranch.org. I have several of them here, so if anyone would like a card, please take it with it. It has all the instructions on the back. In addition, if you wanted to tell your friends, the cards are available any day at the public library, both in Elbron and the main branch, City Hall Information Desk, Long Branch Community Development Office on 228 Broadway, the Senior Citizen Center, Recreation Department, Chamber of Commerce, BH Help Center. Finer details, and some of the establishments on the list have the cards as well. And like I said, just to activate it, it's on the back of the card, and I have a bunch of them here, so if anybody would like any, just let me know and I can just hand them out. So thank you again. Thank you, as always, for your comments, and thank you for being here this evening. Have a great week.
Thank you. I would just like to, echo what Dr. Sully said in regards to National Night Out. I was not here for the event, but I was told by a lot of people that opening up basically across the street, it gave the city a lot more room, gave all the vendors and the children a lot more room to just enjoy what National Night Out is supposed to be about. So I'd like to thank the city employees who made the contact to the owner of the property to let us borrow that big piece of property just for the evening. And the other thing is, since this is televised, I would like to just have everyone go through our website and find out when our bulk pickup is, since we did change from every Wednesday to every twice a month, just to help out Department of Public Works, who are working hard to keep our city clean. But we still have some that are just putting out bulk every week as if we're still picking up on a weekly basis, and we're not. So please just go to the website and find out what weeks that we will be picking up in the part of town that you live in, so we can, again, keep the city as clean as possible. Thank you very much, and have a blessed evening.
Adjourn the meeting.
Now, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second. All right. All right.
All right.
Couple of me.
I won't see you next time?